Good morning, online fam. So many of you have asked me, girl, what exactly do you do for work in the Middle East? About 10 months ago, I was contacted by a London-based recruiter while living in New York and tasked with the job of helping to build out a brand new children's hospital here in Qatar, promoting family-friendly interventions, prepping children for procedures, and creating a patient-centered care environment. Typically, my day starts around 6:30 with the first surgical patient arriving at 6:45. After grabbing patient census, prioritizing who needs to be seen, and getting a sip of coffee, I'm off to see my first little one. As a master's level child life specialist, my work derives from a strong background in child development and 10 years of clinical work. In the field of child life, play is our hallmark. We use it almost every day. So for example, for a preschooler, as you see here, I might have my baby doll, I have pretend equipment, and I have actual medical equipment. It's a fun and great way for children to have a reference point. So if they are seeing these medical equipment later on with an actual provider, a medical provider, say for example a doctor, nurse, techs, it's a great way for them to feel confident. It's a great way for them to learn. It's a great way for them to explore and to also reduce some of that anxiety when it's time. In the next developmental level, say for example our school-age kids, so kids that are around the age of 6, we notice that they start to have their own questions and concerns around their health. They, as young as they are, want to feel a part of the team. They want to make little decisions. And so using something, for example, like an iPad is a very fun, engaging way for children to learn about their health, to learn about upcoming procedures, to ask questions, to inquire, to play. And so this is another great way where I'm able to, right before going into surgery, have a child engage with me to help me assess a bit how they're coping. And often, as we do lots of preparation and education, sometimes an upcoming procedure, in my case, in my department, that would mean surgery, that can be so stressful and overwhelming for a child and for a family. So often you'll see me don a lot of the protective gear, and I will go into these surgical spaces and help children continue to cope well. We will rehearse again the coping plan. We'll talk about coping strategies and what works well for them. And so I'm working in tandem with other medical providers to kind of keep a child focused, calm, confident, empowered in something that can be, for them, one of the most stressful moments of their life. Guys, so thank you so much for watching. As always, if you have questions for me on my work here in Qatar, you can drop them below in the comment section, or you can send me a quick message on Instagram, and my handle is angela.b.adwoa. That's ADWOA. So before I wrap up, I wanted to do a quick FAQ on child life. So the 2 questions that I get the most. 1, do you need a degree to practice child life? Do you need a degree to do this? You absolutely do. So we are in the medical setting doing interventions. We are intervening on the behalf of children and families. And so yes, if you are going to be doing clinical assessments on how a child is coping with stressful news, meaning a new diagnosis, the environment, being prepped for a procedure, you need a clinical background, you need an educational background. In order to then decide which intervention, which ways that you're going to intervene and work with that child, you need education. So even though the tools of our trade are toys, we're pulling these things, these bubbles, these iPads, these medical teaching dolls very mindfully. So we're pulling these things because we know that in pulling this specific item, we are going to get a very specific result, meaning end game, we can either distract that child from a stressful moment, and that's typically for our younger ones, infants and toddlers. We can then work with this child with a medical play doll to help them learn about medical equipment, work and figure out and become acclimated to the environment, and that's often for our preschoolers. And we can use, again, less toys, but more of kind of creative art modalities to work with teenagers to help them process maybe changes in their body, changes in their social interactions with their peers as they have a new diagnosis. So yes, you need an education to be able to do this. Back in my day, and I sound like a child life grandma, you do need a strong background in child development. There are courses that you do need to take, and that is listed on the Child Life website, childlife.org. You do need to finish and complete a clinical internship. Sometimes that looks like a semester, sometimes that looks like a full year, depending on whether you're pursuing that internship full-time or part-time. And you do need to sit for a clinical exam. So that's the education portion. And again, if you have questions, you can drop them below. Second question that I get, or even not even a question, but more like a comment that we often get, I think particularly as we are being introduced throughout, our respective hospitals, oh, Child Life is here and they're here to entertain your child. So it's a bit frustrating because while what we do is entertaining sometimes for children, it's way more than that. And it's, for all of the reasons that I've indicated before. While what we do may be entertaining and diversional, meaning we're diverting that child's attention, again, there's a larger purpose for it. So yes, I might be sitting with a child playing Xbox in our playroom, but underneath that, there's a conversation. A, that child feels safe with me. B, we're forming like a rapport. They feel comfortable sharing things. And then number 3, C, they, then are often sharing personal things about their experience, what happens in school, what happens at home, how stressed they feel about the medical environment and all the tests or the questions that they get from other medical providers. So we become those safe people. We're talking to them, about more than just their illness. They're whole people. And so we really want to cherish that and celebrate that. So that's another part of Child Life as well, celebrating birthdays, creating fun, kid-friendly programming, grant writing to fund just certain interventions and other really great programs, partnering with nonprofits. So we do lots of different things. We wear lots of different hats, and yeah, it's been a really great ride. It's brought me all the way to Qatar. So thank you guys so much. Let me know if you have other questions. What else do you guys want to see from me? I'm hoping to answer your questions in video form. And that's it. Till next time, the journey continues. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. For more on fashion, travel, and living abroad, be sure to subscribe to my channel now.